Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you. All right, welcome to episode 169 of 15 Minutes of Genius. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to see all the other episodes, recorded episodes, go on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, all that good stuff, and make sure to comment and like on this post, which is likely on LinkedIn because that's where I live, on LinkedIn. I bring a lot of founders on that I obviously love the founders, love their story, and sometimes I really love their product. This is one of those cases, those rare cases where I really, I'm deeply obsessed with the product that this guy offers. And so his name is Kevin Weatherall, and the name of the product is Rising Tide. He is a sponsor also on our CPG Vibes, which used to be Friday Vibes podcast. And I use his product pretty much every single day in a hot cup of water. So I don't use it like in any kind of coffee or anything like, or any other kind of liquid. Hot water. I use Rising Tide, which is a coconut creamer that has MCT oil and lion's mane, so it helps you with focus. It's a focus creamer. And then I put in mud water and honey with a little oat milk. So all those, I'm like extremely focused after having all that whole combination. So anyway, he is the founder of Rising Tide. Kevin, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Alex. Excited to be here. And yeah, thanks for your support and continuing to use our creamer. Love it.
Yeah, I'm stocking up big time. I ordered 4 bags in my last order. I have already blown through 1 bag in 5 days, and the other 3 are soon going to be blown through as well. And I've actually given them as gifts as well to some friends, and they're like, obviously friends that are health oriented and into nutrition, and people are loving it. So you're the last time we talked, which was obviously not on the show, just offline. There's been definitely a shift in demand in general for this category, which is functional mushrooms, MCT oil, cognitive focus, all these things. So tell us more about what you've seen, what you've witnessed in the last like 12 to 18 months, because I know you've had this product out for quite a few years, but you're just starting to see really just a pickup in demand, right?
Yeah, I launched it back in 2019, so it's been about 4 years. And then at that time, my real focus, no pun intended, because it's called Focus Creamer, is our initial product. But my initial interest was in mushrooms. I became obsessed with functional mushrooms, lion's mane. Obviously, there's other ones like chaga, cordyceps, and their unique benefits. And I could see a trend happening, but it was still niche at the time. I think I even overestimated. I thought it was going to be this big thing out the gate because there was mushroom coffees on the market. That was kind of one of the early products that was popular. But I launched it by myself, funded it by myself, and it was going there for a few years. I wasn't investing a ton in marketing just because it was my own company that I personally funded. But then I would say, like as you alluded to, about 12 months ago, things really started to take off. And year to date, the business year over year is up 300%. So
Wow.
it's significantly increased year over year. We're launching more products to kind of just support that interest. I think in general, as you've experienced, the benefits from these ingredients and the new nootropic kind of movement has crossed the chasm of being niche to like a lot of consumers, wanting to incorporate those into their diet. So something happened. We've invested more in marketing as I've seen the growth kind of take off, which is, I think, continue to push that. But yeah, there's something in the water right now where people are more into these type of products and benefits.
Yeah, definitely noticing that. And also from a personal standpoint, using more of these products. And I think like part of it was the pandemic. I feel that's just me. Like it's not the sole reason, but obviously with COVID, people losing focus, people having, COVID symptoms where they can't think straight. I think that definitely spurred on for people to recognize the importance of being focused, the importance of having, having that cognitive ability day in, day out, and how it really affects your performance and your efficiency and productivity. So I agree with you wholeheartedly that nootropics is the future, and the future is already here. And even with Genius Juice, we're doing our shot. We're doing a
Hmm.
nootropic shot, which has lion's mane and MCT oil. In cooperation, we're not, different product from Rising Tide. Your creamer tastes really good with whether it's coffee or hot water or whatever, oat milk. So what are the new products you're coming out with?
Yeah, so we're in the middle of probably continuing to expand on the creamer line, but the biggest thing we're about to launch actually is an oatmeal. It's an overnight oats product. It's shelf stable, but incorporates mushrooms into what is already kind of a popular um,
Cool.
product in the market. And so the oatmeal has actually four mushrooms in it, not just the lion's mane, and it's made from all natural ingredients. You know, sensible on the sugar, no extra funky artificial sweeteners. So trying to really make a clean, natural product um, and add mushrooms to it. And I think just like our creamer, it fits that same breakfast kind of start your day, try to get focused mindset.
Very cool. And actually, what I'm going to do here, which is a new feature that we have, is sharing what this actually looks like, right? So
Yeah.
I'm on the website for Rising Tide for those that are watching. You can see it's a focus creamer, super simple packaging, and you can see that literally just add a spoon of this powder, and it actually has there's a unsweet. I didn't mention this, but has an unsweetened and a sweetened, and the sweetened has just coconut sugar, which is hypoglycemic. It's much better, and it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So I love this because I'm very sensitive to sugar. I just can't have a lot of it. I'm the guy at a birthday party that does not have the fucking cake. I'm just like, I can't eat that. It's like 50 grams of sugar in that one slice, and who knows who made it and what's in it.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
and so, but you can see just a lot of mushrooms. And then here's a new ones that you're talking, the new line, which is an overnight oats product. And I gotta say, man, I really, really love the packaging of this, and like it's just awesome. And so, like, where does the name Rising Tide actually come from? I like to go back to the origins, the origin story of how you started it and the name.
Yeah, of course. And thanks for the compliment on the packaging. It's funny because that's actually the third iteration of the packaging for the creamer. A lot of people told me just stick with the packaging, don't change it. But I felt like we needed to communicate better. So I'm glad that you're kind of seeing that. That's super helpful. So the origin of Rising Tide. So a lot of people have heard the term Rising Tide, right? Because I think it was Kennedy or someone had a quote that said Rising Tide lifts all boats. Um, I love that quote, and I think that there's benefits of this product that can help your overall life. So there's a little bit of a connection there, but really the passion for me actually connection for me is with surfing. I'm a, a surfer since I was a little kid, um, and tides really affect the quality of waves. And so my connection with the ocean was something I wanted to bring into this product. And I think the cool thing is rising tide means so many different things to so many different people. So it's almost like a song, right? Where and I think you actually mentioned this before, how there's a Metallica song called Rising Tide. I love that people come to me and say, this brand means this to me. It means something different to me, right? There's all different types of connections, and I empower that because I think in general, Rising Tide is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's the Metallica song is frantic. The rising tide that pushes to the other side. It's a terrible album, and it was one of their
Yeah.
worst albums. But that was the only one of the few songs I liked from that album. And being a huge Metallica fan and meeting Metallica, I met them backstage at Summer Sanitarium 2003. But anyway, that's the rising tide line for those that want to look it up. So that's the origin story, and then mushrooms, right? Like you just 4 years ago, what kind of signified to you that this will be the next trend? Because it's so hard. Like 4 years, like now it's easy, right? It's hindsight's 2020. It's like, oh man, mushrooms, of course. It's people are looking into it, people are having other products with mushrooms. So how did you know, like 4 years ago, that this was going to be a trend? Because it's really hard to predict that long ago.
Yeah, and I would say it was probably right. I launched it 4 years ago, so it's probably like five and
Yeah,
a half years ago. You know how long it takes to get these things out the door, especially your
right.
first one, right? Um, Well, I just thought when I started to hear about, I think the first thing was mushroom coffee. I thought uh, what I understood mushrooms to be, and like there's all the psychedelic stuff, but also the idea of the thing in your backyard that could poison you. That's what I always thought of mushrooms. And
Hmm.
so this change to see something that was could actually benefit you, and that also there each of these mushrooms had their different types of benefits. So what lion's mane versus cordyceps versus chaga, they all benefit you in different ways. I was just fascinated by that. And I thought it was almost the modern evolution of what I understood to be pharmaceuticals, right? You take this pill to benefit you, and we all know, you know, potential negative side effects of taking too many pharmaceuticals. And so I thought to be able to have something that was natural, but that could target different, or create different benefits you was amazing. And then on top of that, when you start to research this stuff and realize that it's been around for thousands of years, that in ancient China they were using mushrooms and have been for up until now to benefit their health, I just became obsessed with them. So yeah, and I didn't know if it would take on. Sometimes I see trends and I believe in them, sometimes not. But with all that together and seeing the earliest success of mushroom coffee, I was like, it's going to be something. And then also to say that I've been in the food industry for a while. I was at I think I was at Expo West, I think 5 or 6 years ago, and I started to see some inklings where people were talking about that. And that's always an
Hmm.
early sign that something might be brewing.
Yeah. I think it's something just for other CPG founders to really understand that, if you're not first, you're basically last. That's like the way that I look at this industry. Like, obviously, you can adapt a better version of what's already out there. Like, Olipop is doing a better version of Coke or Pepsi, right? With way better than what they're representing, way healthier. But you saw it really early on and you took the chance and came out with it really before anyone was doing anything really remotely like this, besides some coffee stuff and different blends. So it goes to show you that in order to be successful and seeing the kind of growth you're seeing, you got to get in on it early and like take that chance, right? Before everyone else is doing it. And the chance is huge, but the payoff is also very, very big versus just entering into a commoditized category that everyone's already doing and then you're fighting uphill. So I think it's a great strategy. It's a risk, but it looks like it's paying off for you.
Yeah, and I would say on top of that, you got to be patient. Like I mean, there was 2 years there where I was funding this myself. So I would see other brands in the space blowing up because they were, putting a lot of money into education, which
Mudwater and all those guys.
yeah,
And
putting a lot of
yeah,
money into education. And I was thinking, geez, why is my thing not blowing up? And I was like, you know what? I believe in this. If I just stick to it, I don't know if I'm going to have to launch another product. I don't know if I'm going to have to change the packaging. I know this category now and I'm going to figure it out. So I think a lot of times in those, if you believe in something in those early categories, you're just going to have to be patient. I mean, you know this, you've been through it, right? Trying to educate people and get a business
yeah,
going.
yeah. It's beyond. It's a fine line of patience and insanity, and sometimes that line gets crossed when building a CPG brand. It could be frustrating, it could be lonely, but if you believe in your product, you just keep going. So, like you've done, man, and you've done a great job. We're gonna go to our next segment here, and this is called rapid fire questions. Rapid fire questions. All right, so we're gonna ask you just a bunch of questions. This is more to dig into more about who you are, because like we on the show we talk about the entrepreneur, we talk about your business,
Yeah.
we talk about your product, but also just kind of get a peek through the window on who is Kevin, like when he's not
Hmm.
like crushing it with Rising Tide. What does he do? What's his personality? So he already talked about surfing, so that you got a little clue there. But let's go into these questions, answer them as quickly as you can, first thing that comes to your mind. And I can see you're like sitting up straight, like, okay, I got to get ready for this.
Got to get ready for this. Let's go. Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's got to get what does Vince Vaughn say in the breakup, like mind meld, mind meld, mind meld, mind meld, or whatever. I don't even know what that means. All right, so um, first question for can't believe I referenced that for music. Which decade is the best, the 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh man, you know what? I actually am gonna. I mean, I like classic rock, so I would probably say the '70s. But I actually my favorite era is the early 2010s. I guess I don't know what they call that era, like 2010 through 2013 or something.
Interesting.
Um, that's my favorite era of music, kind of when psychedelic, and I'm in this whole psychedelic space, right? Like to a certain degree, but like the whole rock blended with more electronic music. That's my jam.
Cool. It's kind of like a modern version of Depeche Mode in a way, almost.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, exactly. Mhm.
There's been a lot of great music in the last 10. I thought it was like in like 2003 and 4 when like Usher and all these bands are out. I'm like, okay, music's done. This is all bullshit, right? Like this is all like
Yep.
pop and like club music and like I don't like any of it. And then like, like Nickelback and all this like useless rock that again, people like them, but I thought it was just not meaningful rock. It's very radio like friendly mainstream rock. And then like around 2010, 12, 13, like Mumford and Sons and all these great bands came out, like a lot of these folk bands. And yeah, and I think alongside that, the music that you like came out and it added a lot more meaning to music again, which wasn't there for like 10 years. I think 90s was great, Nirvana, Tupac, all these great artists. And then like in like 98, 99, it got crappy for like almost 10 years. And then
Yeah,
then it revived in like 2010. So, um,
100%.
what do you do for exercise?
Well, I said I surf occasionally. I have little kids, as I know you do too, so I can't surfing takes a while, and I like golf too, one of my
Golfing
favorite
takes much
hobbies.
longer than surfing, unfortunately.
So golfing is hard, and then running a business is tricky as well. So I like surfing, golf, and then I've gotten more into just general, like I would say, like weightlifting, like exercise type stuff in the last year. As gotten into my 30s, trying to like focus on longevity and like being
Mhm.
able to do the golfing and surfing without going and play golf and then like pulling your neck or or when I surf like hurting myself or something. So combination of those three, but it's hard being busy and having kids, as you know. So try
Yep.
to do as much as I can.
100%. 100%. How old are your kids?
I have twin girls that are about to be 2 and then a son who's 4. So I got a full house.
Wow, that's amazing. You got the hat trick going, 3 kids.
Yeah.
All right, so next question. Good for you, man. So happy for you.
Thank you.
So a movie you can watch an unlimited amount of times.
Oh man. Um I mean, I love that era, like Step Brothers, and I mean, when I was a kid, it was Happy Gilmore. I know you're into golf. I could, if you haven't seen Happy Gilmore,
Oh, of
that's
course. Many, many
That's a
times.
classic.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I would say one I was just watching and I could watch again. I'm not 40 yet. I'm in my 30s, but This Is 40, all of the Paul Rudd
Yep.
movies,
Yep.
and I Love You Man, those
Yep.
ones. Who's the director? I'm trying to think of his name right now.
Judd Apatow.
Judd Apatow,
Apatow.
his movies.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think that would be my my group of movies.
Cool. All right. Chocolate. We got to speed up a little bit. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Favorite country to travel to?
Um, wow. I would say probably I like to go to Mexico and go surfing, since it's close and easy.
Cool. And favorite Star Wars character?
Oh geez, I don't know, Chewbacca.
Okay, I can see that. Chewbacca surfing. I can see that. All right. He's probably the most likely character to surf. What is your spirit? Like on a wave. What is your spirit animal?
Oh geez, a spirit animal. Um, Man, I don't know, like a panther?
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. Smart, fast. Do you like to drive an SUV, a coupe, or a truck?
Oh, SUV all day. Um, all day.
Got to put
Can
the
do,
surfboard in there.
yeah, exactly.
For food, salty or sweet?
Sweet. I have a horrible sweet tooth that I'm trying to let go.
You'll never let it go because I got the same one. You just gotta find things that give you that fix without it destroying your health, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't know, like, cacao or something or rising tide, sweetened rising tide, all that. All right. Favorite day of the week and why?
I mean, it's hard not to like Friday. I mean, I like Friday a lot because usually you've gotten through the week, you can look back and you feel like you've typically accomplished something. And if you haven't, it's a bad week. Then you're finishing it, and you got the weekend ahead of you to either hang with the fam or do an adventure, go surfing, go golfing, all the stuff we like to do.
100%. Uber or Lyft?
Haven't done either in a while. I would say Lyft seems maybe Lyft now because I think it's a little newer, so a little I don't know. We'll go with Lyft.
Cool. One thing I didn't know that is Lyft came first before Uber. I learned that,
Oh,
which again, no one would know because Uber became big first and then Lyft became big after them. But Lyft was originally created before Uber, and then Uber made it big, and then Lyft piggybacked off of Uber. So anyway, just 101 info for ride sharing info for our podcast. Three more questions. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant, the greatest of all time?
well, my favorite player is LeBron James, and I think I would probably say that he's the greatest of all time just because of his longevity,
Yeah,
and
20 years. Yeah.
winning. And I mean, there's something about longevity and that what you have to put yourself through to do that, and the mental fortitude. So I think Michael Jordan, in terms of like efficiency and like success in that window of winning six, will never be beaten. So there's something about that, but I'm gonna go LeBron.
Yeah. I feel like there's a relation just to because, as mentioned, I like golf. Is Tiger Woods comes to mind, despite all of his personal problems and all that, which far more personal problems than LeBron ever had, right? Infidelity and DUIs and all this stuff. But I mean, he's been golfing and he's still winning competition. He was for 22 years. Like he won the Masters when he was 41 years old or 42 years old, where he's had like 5 surgeries, back surgeries, knee surgeries. He won the US Open when he could barely walk. He had to use his driver as a cane,
Yeah.
a walking cane. So
Yep.
like that mental fortitude, the car accident, almost losing his leg, almost lost his life and almost lost his leg, coming back the next year and playing, honestly excellent, like in the top 10 in the first couple days. That's like that similar to LeBron, that mental fortitude over many years, never giving up, always training, always getting better, wanting to win, having that hunger right after so many years and so many championships. So yeah, man. So good stuff. Terminator 1 or Terminator 2? Which one do you like better?
It's been so long since I've seen those. I mean, I'd probably go with the first one just because typically the first movie in a series is always the best. But I got to go rewatch those. But I'm gonna go with one for right now.
Yeah, make sure to watch Arnold also on Netflix, his new
Oh,
documentary. It's really good. Yeah.
he's got a show out too. Like I
Fubar?
think it's yeah. I haven't watched that. He's coming out with a lot of content. And speaking of which, longevity. He's another example of a guy who
Yeah,
just
for sure.
keeps going.
Insane. Insane. Like what and if you like watch the documentary, he talks about that, how he's still to this day, he's working out. He has his own gym, obviously, on his property. And he just kept reinventing himself from weightlifting to being an actor to being a politician. And everyone thought he was crazy. Like, you can't do this. He's like, well, when everyone says it's crazy, it fires me up to want to do it. He says that in the
Exactly.
documentary. All right. So, favorite food or drink, you're stuck on a deserted island and you cannot say Rising Tide or Genius Juice.
Let's see here. This is a weird. I'm gonna give a shout out for a random brand right now that I'm into. Is that cool? It's
Not at all.
this soda that I've been getting. I think it's like it's called, I think, Decaye or something.
Oh, Delicaye. Yeah.
De La Calle. I'm into that stuff right now. They're cactus flavor. I don't know what it is. I've been buying those and they're not cheap. I think they're like $3 a can or something like that. So right now that's my drink that I'm enjoying. And I'm into all the cool trendy natural products. So I change and try new stuff all the time. But that's
Yeah.
the one for now.
You have to be, man. You're in the business and you're innovating. So, well, good stuff.
Yeah.
That has been rapid fire questions with Kevin Weatherall. He's the founder of Rising Tide Focus Creamer. Go to his website, just risingtide.co, right? I get that right?
It's rising-tide.co. You can find
Okay.
us on Instagram, Rising Tide Co. We're big on TikTok. We have over 100,000 followers, and that's Rising Tide Co. as well. So check us out on those platforms.
Cool. And you can also, I'll have your website in a comment in this episode, posted on LinkedIn. And obviously, if anyone wants to reach out to you, best thing to do is just message you on LinkedIn, right? I imagine.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Cool. All right. Well, Kevin, thank you for joining us on episode 169 of 15 Minutes of Genius. Have a wonderful rest of your week. All right, my man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Have a good day.
You too, man. Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.